Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we have now found even more kind of PlayStation callouts they've given for the PlayStation 5 Pro, more PlayStation 5 Pro requirements, and a brand new update in regards to anyone that wants to make games for the PlayStation 5 Pro, and basically kind of have the approval from PlayStation itself. We also have some other kind of big news too as well when it comes to brand new demos that are coming out here too, some big hating in the gaming community, and everything else. So if you guys will sit back, relax, and enjoy, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We do have the Twitter and Twitch link down below in case you guys would like to go and follow, and I want to hear your thoughts and comments on all this type of stuff down below. Now, throughout these past few weeks, probably the past 2 weeks or so, we've seen a lot of PlayStation 5 Pro news, mainly because we're seeing big leaks on specs, seeing even bigger leaks in terms of what we're maybe expecting to as well, of how much improvements and how much comparison towards the normal PlayStation 5. And although we haven't gotten the price point yet, or if there's a different look, we have at least known that it's probably coming throughout this year. But one big thing is that obviously when it comes to the consoles being released for consumers, that's nice. We have a chance to go buy the console, get the console, enjoy the console. But as well, there's also specific things when it comes to marketing, when it comes to third-party developers, and how they can actually incorporate this into specific games that are either coming out, so think pure PlayStation 5 games, or as well if they're ever going to be specifically with different, I don't know how to word it the best, but basically different tiers of how the game might be. So a good example, a game like GTA 6 will most likely be very able to be played on the PlayStation 5 base, but as well also probably have a big additional patch and additional gameplay elements for the PlayStation 5 Pro. Now I don't mean actual new things added to the game, but different types of specs and different types of options and settings and slightly better frames and slightly better resolutions when it comes to the console itself. I think most people watching this video will probably agree. It's yeah, PS5 is the base, PS5 Pro is a little bit of the special stuff. But now we're kind of learning on that PlayStation has been apparently sending out memos and apparently as well mentioning of how to get this approval for your game itself. So this is kind of intriguing because it came out only 30 minutes ago, where there's basically an exclusive talking about the PS5 Pro enhanced requirements of basically what you need to get done to make it push up on the PlayStation 5 Pro. So I'm probably explaining this really weirdly because I don't know the proper word for it. Let's go and say you're at a store and you have an iPhone 10, iPhone 14. And they have specific things where it's this is even better for the iPhone 14 to kind of maybe upsell you and kind of basically give you the double whammy. That's kind of what it is. So imagine you have a random PlayStation box and you have, let's say, GTA 6 just for ease of access. It'll have the GTA 6 on the top right. It'll be this is super good on the PS5 Pro, or 5K or 8K resolution on the PS5 Pro. So kind of I hope you guys get some of those warning stickers or basically how to go and mention that you can market that you're utilizing the PS5 Pro. Let's say in the future, you're making a random indie game, and your indie game's pretty much exactly the same on the PS5 Pro and PS5, although obviously if you have the PS5 Pro as a normal console yourself, as the consumer, it'll run a little bit better, a little bit smoother, just because it's different hardware. But some games will actually have a way better, they'll spend millions of dollars to make the PS5 Pro better. I'm probably doing a really poor way to explain this, but hopefully you guys get what I mean. It's, once again, let's say you have an iPhone 10, you have an iPhone 13. Some things are specifically made for the iPhone 13 to make it run better. But at the same time, you could still run on the iPhone 10. So marketing-wise, you'd say, hey, this is really good on the iPhone 13. You can still run on the iPhone 10, but it's really good on the iPhone 13. Maybe VR is a better maybe call to as well, where there's definitely been certain games, say the Steam Index. That for sure will run all of their games Half-Life Elixir probably a little bit better. It's their own specific hardware and custom stuff. You can still play Half-Life Elixir on other various VR headsets, but it's specifically better for that. Maybe that's a better example because it's more gamer to gamer. But either way, it's kind of hey, you have this. We have a game that spent extra millions of dollars to make sure the PS5 Pro runs better. Probably out of PlayStation mainstay games like God of War, Spider-Man 2 will probably most likely run better with the PS5 Pro. They'll have more access to the internal architecture for the console. I think you guys get the gist. But either way, with the soon-to-be-announced PS5 Pro expected to hit shelves as of later this year, Insider Gaming learned that the developer requirements that need to be met for the PS5 Pro enhanced label. So, like I said, the label on the box itself. Basically, internally, this is called the Trinity X Enhanced label because the code name for the PS5 Pro is the Trinity console. But right now, for the sake of that SEO, they're basically just saying hey, just so you guys know what I'm talking about, it's the PS5 Pro Enhanced moving forward. The Enhanced label first made its introduction in the PlayStation ecosystem following the release of the PlayStation 4 Pro, which basically, like I said, on the box, in their marketing, on their YouTube videos, whatever, they're going to have kind of a cool thing even better in the PS5 Pro, or on the actual game case, runs at 60 FPS or 8K on the PS5 Pro, for that little extra smidgen. let's say you're walking to Best Buy, although they don't really do too much physical media, but for the sake of this video, you walk into Best Buy, you see a GTA, it says it's running better than the 4K, all right, 8K on the PS5 Pro, yeah, pick it up, you want to go get it, you walk by a PS5 Pro, you buy that instead, FOMO, or you never bought a console, it's just easy peasy marketing, whatever it might be. But basically, that means that you also have to do something special for the PS5 Pro for Sony to acknowledge it and give it to you. So for the PS5 Pro, PlayStation wants games to offer a PS5 Pro exclusive graphics mode that will combine a few different things. PSSR to upscale resolution to 4K. Basically means they want to have a chance to have their developers and coders utilize their AI systems to make sure everything is upscaled to 4K. So they're basically saying, hey, like you could use a normal PS5, that's fine. But if you want us to give that label and approve it for the PS5 Pro, you need to probably be using the PSS5 or PSSR upscale resolution to make sure the PS5 is running better. Red Strike basically using this custom system, like custom systems we made, which is also obviously like still an extra gusto you have to do. You have to put a little extra work, a little extra time into it. You also need to have a consistent 60 FPS. So let's say you have a game that's running 30 FPS on the PS5. You have to make sure it's consistently running at 60. Or as well, let's say a game maybe floats more, this is probably the more realistic, at like a 45 to like 55 range. And you want to make sure, nope, we have the slightly better specs, make it running consistently at 60 frames. And this is like the standard of what everything's going to be for the PS5 Pro. And they also do want them from just, this is like for the base. You also want them to add ray tracing effects or increase ray tracing effects. So let's go and say you have nothing on the base PS5. You add ray tracing because you can. You have slightly better GPU. You have a slightly more like wider CPU. You could make it happen. So add that. Make it look nicer. Make the game look actually visibly better. Or let's say you already do have all this cool ray tracing effects. Make it bigger. Make it better. You have a slightly more wiggle room to do it. Make it better. And this is basically what PlayStation's saying to folks, saying like, hey, make this run. If it doesn't, you're messed up. So from the documents sent to Insider Gaming 2, they basically were saying that because of the faster RAM, which is 28% faster, and the faster GPU that is 67% larger, which is basically around 45% faster, with all that type of stuff, they're saying all these basically make the Pro 45% faster than the standard PlayStation 5 you could buy right now or have on your desk. And it can provide twice the amount of rendering speed as well. So the rendering speed is both going to be utilized for the AI of the PSSR upscaling to 4K, and as well as also utilizing that extra, let's say, like wider door to allow more things to pass through at once. So that means things like ray tracing, more things can pass on through. And I think that's a good thing. Like, I really think that's generally a good thing. So PlayStation goes on to continue that they also may give them this label, this PS5 Pro Enhanced label, if they also offer any of the following enhancements. Saying, and they increase the target resolution for titles that run on a fixed resolution on the standard console. So this is basically saying, hey, your game runs at 1080p or only 4K, most likely 1080p, like 1080p 60 FPS. So that means like, hey, if you go and give the game 4K 60 FPS with the more improved like specs, that's only for the PS5 Pro, we'll add the cool logo. Or if they increase the target maximum resolution for titles that run at variable resolution. So that's kind of what I said. If it's only capped out at like, let's say 1440p, you somehow add 4K. So it means that there is an improvement that only the PlayStation 5 Pro offers that is included. And increase the target frame rate for titles that get a fixed frame rate. Let's say they only run at like say 40, let's say they only run at 30 FPS, make it easy. And then they say he could add 45 or 60 on the Pro, you get the title. And then also inclusion of the PS5 Pro ray tracing effects, basically just saying you improve everything a little bit better. And then you also can go get the title too as well. That's why I've been saying stuff too for, say, like GTA 6. Well, realistically, this game will probably be the best selling point for the PS5 Pro. Now, some are saying it may not even run at 60, but this would be like, hey, you have GTA 6 at 30, and then you have GTA 6 at, let's say, 45, 50 on the Pro. That would still get the Pro logo on your game itself. So I think this is intriguing because at the end of the day, they're basically just trying to go and preemptively be like, hey, you guys got like a year. You know, you could add a lot more coding. It's pretty similar technology, just utilize better specs. Kind of like for PC. Like usually if you know for PC, they'll offer like 10 different resolutions, different frame rates, motion blur removal, and like frame rate caps, whatever it might be. If I want to launch a game on my PC, I can literally launch a 30 FPS game and have no big problems, and then switch it to 60 FPS, no big problems. Or if I'm running a game at 720p to 1080p, I could probably do that almost pretty much every mainstay PC game. It does kind of seem like a lot of games are kind of turning more to PC as well. So that's kind of cool. So give me your thoughts and comments, because this is kind of brand new information that just came out, and I think it's kind of nifty and kind of makes sense. Make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We have the Twitter and Twitch room down below in case you guys want to follow, and I appreciate y'all so much for watching here in the first place.